Welcome to the event. We're really happy that you're here. We're about to go live in just a few moments, but before we lift off, there's a few important things we want to make sure that you're aware of so you get the best possible experience out of this. First of all, the sound current is supremely important to us, the musical experience. So if possible, we really encourage you to use good speakers or headphones to experience the class with. Second, if you have any pre-existing injuries, please take care of yourself, modify as you need to. Don't risk exacerbating an injury because of a yoga exercise. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions and you're not quite sure if this would be good for you, please consult with your primary healthcare practitioner and make sure it's the right thing for you. Also, make yourself relatively comfortable. You can use a cushion, and in fact, we encourage you in our seated positions, meditation practices, to use a cushion. It helps lift the heart up, keep the spine straight, and it's more ideal for the flow of energy in the body and for the meditation experience. You can even be sitting in a chair with feet flat on the floor for those of you that are unable to sit in a meditative sitting posture on the floor. Just use a chair, and for many of the exercises, that will work perfectly fine. And then lastly, if you're having any problems with the video streaming, try refreshing the page, or if you see a gear icon on the video, adjust your resolution. If you're new to this type of thing, just take care of yourself. If there's something that you don't quite understand, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Everything that needs to click will click after a few times of trying it out. Enjoy the experience. We're about to get started in just a moment.
Hey everyone, welcome. Happy full moon. Happy eclipse day. Thanks for being here. Very excited to be here. This is really the only thing I like to do on an eclipse time. I know sometimes, where we live, we can't see this eclipse. And sometimes it is fun to look at eclipses and very fascinating, phenomenal. But I find it way more fascinating to meditate during eclipses. My experiences have been so wonderful and profound, especially when you have one like happening right on you. Usually you don't want one happening right on you if you're looking at it from astrological perspective, though. Right on you meaning like right on the some focal point of your own natal chart. Isn't that interesting? So it's like whatever the skies were, however they were at the moment that each of us took our first breath, now creates this kind of like some type of template or something, some type of architecture. And I don't think it creates it personally. I think it reflects it. In other words, I don't think there's anything that like the planets are doing to us necessarily. Yes, you could say they are, but also you can look at it from a totally different perspective, that to look at the solar system and look at the way the planets move and their relationship to longitude and latitude, which is what astrology is looking at. That's a reflection of how things are. It's not that anything's forcing us to something, We are Jupiter, we are Venus. Venus is love, Jupiter is wisdom. We are Saturn. Saturn is work. Saturn is discipline. This is our psyche. It's not something outside of us. But it's easy, of course, in astrological thinking to start to do that, to think that it's things outside of us. And it's both, and yes, it's not outside of us, but it's inside of us and outside of us. And so this thing is mysterious, multifaceted, and I don't pretend to understand it. But things like working with astrological phenomena, I find to be totally helpful, just in the same way that you would say, it's going to be cold and rainy later this week. That's nice to know, because then you get your socks out. If it was the first time of man, it's sock season. I like to be barefoot all the time. And so So just in the same way, like I'll get ahead of it so I don't get a cold, and like because I'm emotionally in denial that the summer is gone, so I'm still wearing like Birkenstocks and like t-shirts, and it's like 45 outside. And so then your body has to work harder to keep you warm, of course. That's all it is. I was trying to tell my son this the other day because I have so much wisdom to share with him. But he's 18 and he doesn't care. So I try anyways. Because I remember how I was at his age. I think that's one of the advantages. I had a son when I'm like in my early 20s. So I think that's one of the advantages of having children when you are young, because there's like the generation gap. Like I still very much remember, being his age. And maybe that would happen anytime, I don't know. But anyhow, I was trying to tell him that's just simple because I was taking him to school, and it was like a couple mornings ago. I had like a hoodie on and a jacket on, and he was a t-shirt on and nothing else. And so I was just like, all it is that you're going to stay warm. You're going to feel warm because you're a teenager and you're invincible. But what has to happen for you to stay warm is your body has to spend energy to keep you warm. Of course, it's just basic physics. That's not hard to understand. And so therefore, when we're younger, we have more vitality for that, in that the body has no problem. But the fact of the matter is, as we get older, that changes. Of course, our bodies change, and you could party for 4 nights straight in the early 20s and get back to work on Monday and pretty much at least fake like everything's all right. But you try that in your late 30s and no way, And so these things change, and we tend to feel like it's a drag when things are getting older, because there are certain things that we don't like about it, and we look in the mirror and things are changing in a way of like, oh, not changing in a younger direction, they're changing in an older direction. And at the same time, what's also changing is we're becoming smarter. We're becoming more emotionally wise. We're becoming more intelligent human beings. We're more mature. In other words, as we're getting older, we're getting greater wisdom for our life and good clarity that can help us be happy, that can help us be concerned for others. Because without that kind of muscle of being concerned for others as kind of like our primary disposition, that's necessary for our own happiness. The physics is back and forth. Without that, then life starts to lose its purpose. We start to lose a sense of purpose, because you can only stay up in our own little world for so long until it becomes a drag. It's this type of inner, just kind of, it's not necessarily narcissistic, but a certain kind of self-importance that makes us more clumsy. And it's not that we don't feel we are important. We do. We are. We don't even worry about that because we know that so deeply. We know our value. And if we don't, we can learn to know our value by getting an experience of our value, not philosophy. And that's what we're trying to do today. Do some yoga practice. Meet the energy of this eclipse so that you can tune into the things that are actually most important in life, I think. And eclipses are valuable for tuning into the things that are most important in life. So that's why when eclipse is right on you, it might be very difficult in the circumstances of your worldly life. And that will make the inner emotional state very challenging and very tender and very not feeling so stable. Yeah? Like an ocean and you're on a boat and the waves, and it's like this storm is coming through, and the different moods of different storms. It's like, a breakup will make that happen, or the fear of a breakup, or a loved one is not doing well, or who knows. All the things that can go wrong are infinite in nature. There's countless. Guru Nanak always saying, countless are the things, countless are, but in both directions, he says, Sankamurik, countless are the fools. Countless are the people living in ignorance, turning humanity against themselves. and just living in their suffering, mistaking it to not be suffering. Then he says, countless are those who, he's speaking, where he turns the whole kind of prakriti, the whole universe, into what he calls Ek Onkar, the one creative vibration that is everything and in everything. He says, and he says, whatever pleases thee. And that becomes that kind of refrain again, over and over and over again, whatever, because it's not taking a position of I know. It's taking a position of who could know. This is beyond the beyond. And he says all the scriptures write about it, and they can continue to writing about it and still never reach the end. It'll never be sufficient. Because all that's just pointing at something that can't be written about at all, in some way or shape or form. And so countless are those who praise thee, he says. And he goes on both sides. Countless are this, countless are that, countless are that. But it always keeps coming back to that there's one vibration that connects us all together. Simple. So it doesn't have to be complex. We're connected to each other. And how we feel about each other is profoundly influential on our own personal sense of happiness. How we feel about each other, not just how we act with each other and talk with each other, because any of us can put on a nice face and say nice words. But how we feel about each other in the privacy of our own heart and mind. That inner dialogue reflects the real outer power that you have. So that's a beautiful thing. It's very empowering because you can transform your inner world. That's not something that's stuck. It can feel stuck because it will continue in that way unless I actively am getting involved in changing it. There's some things we just change naturally over time. But some things won't change unless we get involved in changing them. So that's all. You can really, the hard part of things like eclipses and also the hard part of yoga practice in general is yoga practice, meditation practice opens up the field of awareness. So at once, you both experience your brilliance naturally. You won't have to worry about your value because it's visceral. You might not understand it because it's also kind of unimaginable. It's something transcendent of our ordinary thinking. So we can't quite describe it. So we call it the soul, and then we say God, and we say Allah, and we say this, and we say that. It's all the ways of saying things that kind of get us moving in the direction of that one kind of vibratory thing. The one thing that connects everything together. The sun is coming up we know exactly the time the sun's coming up. We know exactly the time this eclipse is going to happen. There's a physics to it. It's a physics, and yet it's tremendously mysterious. We were looking at the moon last night under the sky here with Jupiter right next to it. It's magic. What is this? It's so cool. It's like, it's unimaginably cool. And yeah, we're like, I don't know. Yeah. And me too. I'm not like pointing fingers, me too. And so what this is all about today is remembering to stay connected to that. Because you don't have to be able to go out and look at the sky to stay connected to that. When say you're in like some unfortunate circumstance, maybe you're in a jail or a thing like, maybe some kind of a jail where you don't have much freedom in your life, or you don't have, life circumstances are not being fortunate to you, or you're not experiencing them as fortunate. It's restrictive. You don't have the freedom you wish you had. There's all sorts of ways we experience different types of jails in life, isn't there? That's also 12th house. They say the jails and ashrams. 12th house. So they're kind of like similar types of places in a sense. They are. If you've ever visited an ashram, you'll know. And but if you had to choose one, because you might have that some 12th house karma and something like that. So that's the difference. I don't believe that things are out there just controlling us. I believe we get to choose. But what do we get to choose? I think that's what yoga, Jyotish, which is Vedic astrology, Ayurveda, the way of healing, they give you more access to whatever it is that will that we do have, that ability to choose happiness. That's the choice we want to make. How can I choose happiness again and again and again and again and again? You know? And so by being real about our emotional tendencies and mental tendencies that are causing us suffering and becoming aware of them, it is empowering, because that's the first step of transforming them. But the reason why we don't do it is because it hurts. And so on one hand, when you do these yoga practice like this, it opens a field of awareness, experience your brilliance. On the other hand, it will show you the ways that we are participating in our own and others' suffering. And that hurts, doesn't it? But just initially is only. You soften into that, be courageous enough to feel the tenderness of it, little by little, as you feel safe enough to do so. Baby steps, because you can't rush it. And that's what the mythology of this eclipse is all about. Don't rush it, because it's happening right in this part of Aries, sidereal Aries, called Ashwini Nakshatra. And Ashwini has the power to get places quickly. Every one of these points of the sky, every lunar mansion has a different Shakti power. And it has a different symbol. And it has a different deity that rules over it. And this one's Shakti is the power to get places quickly. And Ashwini Kumars are the deities, these kind of twin deities that they're very important with healing in Ayurveda. They're like originators of the great mysterious Ayurvedic alchemy called Kaya Kalpa that can make someone live, years and years and years and years and years longer. These types of things, but they fly around in like this kind of spacecraft thing, and they have the Shakti to get places quickly. So these are mythological principles that also show up in our lives. For instance, I know two people in my life who are helicopter pilots. One's in the room here today, and both of them have very strong Ashwini placements in their chart. One on the ascendant, one Lagna Lord, or something like this. And so that's cool, right? That's how you see these mythologies. But when an eclipse is happening, like it is right now in this point, don't rush today, because eclipse creates destabilization. And if you're somewhere where the eclipse is nighttime, say like Europe, Middle East, where the eclipse is happening, then it will be more pronounced in the feel of it, for sure. They say in the Jyotish texts, Vedic astrology texts, ancient texts, if you're in the area where the eclipse is, where it's visible, it delivers what they say 75% to 100% of its results. If you're where the eclipse is not visible, it delivers 25% to 50% of its results. So less intense if it's not visible, which makes sense. If anybody was under that solar eclipse a couple weeks ago, noticeable, no questions. If you're outside, it gets dark out. And the very life force is being kind of, the whole magnetic field changes. If you're really tuning in to a little more of like the subtleties of life, these are not stretches. Oh, that wouldn't affect us? That's more ridiculous to me. Maybe, I think, far less of a chance. And so if you spend time with them, though, these energies, and you work with them, and that's the value in kind of learning some of the astrological principles, is because it allows you to tune into the weather and then to work with it wisely. Because there's always different octaves of each expression. So you can have a moving, like an Ashwini mythology happening in someone's life, and you can like kind of get to the very top of the mountain of what your life is all about. But that same energy can be a raging mess in another context. Could be totally destructive. And so every one of us, there's a creative expression of our life and a more destructive expression of our life. The two polarities. So I'm all about creativity. But being creative in taking responsibility for our own happiness. And that's connected into how we connect with others, in our relationship to others, and not just our immediate others, but the others of the whole world. Saturn right now is hanging out in the sign of Aquarius, where he's in his what's called his Mul Trikona placement, his strongest placement in the sky. So he's dominating the show. And Saturn causes you to look at difficult things. And Saturn is in the sign of all of the human race, the concern for all the human race, the sign of Aquarius, Kumbha. That's concerned with the kind of like humankind. That's what Aquarians are, if you know in your life. But they're not always like warm about it, you know. It's still, you know those? They can be on the cold, chilly side. But the concern is genuine though, yeah? So because it's Saturn ruled. And Saturn's chilly, but Saturn's not bad. Saturn shows you what's real, and it's difficult. But if you don't embrace that part of life, where is the chance of happiness? There isn't. Because when those things come around, and if I'm not able to, at least at some level, welcome that into my life, whatever pleases thee, then I'm going to push against it, and it's going to create some friction. And realistically, I'm going to do both. I'm going to do both. But I just want to modify how much I'm pushing against it, because I'm human. Nobody wants to suffer. We never wish for suffering for us or anyone. The fact of the matter is there will be suffering. And so how do you deal with it? How do we deal with it personally? And how do we deal with it collectively? It's in our face. If you ignore it, act like it's not happening, that doesn't feel good. And if you get overwhelmed by it to where all you feel is despair, that doesn't help. We have to take care of ourselves so that we can be a part of it, so that we can maintain our concern for others. Because otherwise, we're just going to be in survival mode. You see? And so you have to take a bath, sometimes. I know Mahan Kalpa told me in the last immersion, I talked about baths, salt baths, like many times. I don't know what he was insinuating that, but I'm into as kind of a centralized part of being a yogi. As first and foremost, what I'm into is self-compassion, because this thing is hard. Being a human being is hard. And if that's not that self-compassion, you have to resort to something else to get that feeling of love. And you're going to go outside of yourself. Mezcal is beautiful, but don't let it be your feeling of love. Because then what happens? Becomes addictions. You see? Or whatever, that relationship that you're clinging on to, even though it's toxic. Self-compassion has to become the practice, though. It doesn't just, sometimes it depends on the person and their architecture. You see it in their horoscope. So sometimes the person is more natural at self-love and self-compassion. And others, you have to develop that muscle. And then the ones who are sometimes more developed at self-love and self-compassion, they have to develop the muscle to get it moving in another direction. You see? And that's all to simplify, but that's what's so cool about looking at your own astrological chart from a yogi's mind. Not in order to necessarily what is this relationship going to be? When am I going to get the money? Which is all the things we do want to know. Definitely. Don't get me wrong. And you can absolutely look at that. But if that's the starting point, then it gets superficial to me. And you never hit the heart of what this thing's all about, which is dharma, which is living with purpose, meaningfulness in life in a way that's also connected to the well-being of others. And so, instead of worrying about what is my purpose, is how can I help? How can I be of help? How am I uniquely helpful? Everybody is uniquely helpful. That's what I've learned a little bit. And then when you look at the astrological charts, it brings it to life and like, that's their kind of archetype and myth. And then you learn that about the significant people in your life, your close relationships, your family, your lovers, your coworkers, your this and your that. It's like, and then you can be less judgmental also, because what you're also doing, you're looking at your own chart. And so areas where maybe we're a little overimpressed with ourselves, we're like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's a strength. And then areas where we're insecure about ourselves is like, okay, that's a weakness. And then you can start to refine, because the strengths need refinement. Like say you have some strong Jupiter or some strong Sun in the astrological language. That'll give that person great confidence. However, it can also make them somewhat narcissistic if it's not refined. And so where the weaknesses are sometimes, if you have, say, like a weak Sun, that person will start off on the more insecure side. And you may not see it on the outs, they may not show it to you necessarily, but on the inside. And so because it's like, I don't really know who I am. That's what the Sun shows. What are you? What are you proud of? What are you all about? What's your sense of identity? That's why Sun is exalted like in the first house in the constellation of Aries. And interestingly enough, there's always a degree where a planet is exalted. And this eclipse is happening right where the Sun is at its exaltation point. That's where the moon is. And the eclipse, the Sun's right across the sky. This might begin a little too complicated. But all of it is just this kind of fantastic physics. And it's not just science, it's art. It's not just dry science. Not that science is always dry, but it's art. And so if you kind of like pull back a little from it and look at more of like just the kind of existential physics of it, what is it that exists? What can we know and feel? And then what can we kind of read from that? And great sages over thousands and thousands of years have decoded this stuff. But because we're so materialistically oriented in the Western and modern world, we think that's New Age. No, it's not. It pre-exists all this current stuff. And it's stuck around the whole fucking time, you know? And people have been using it. If it didn't have something, this thing would have faded off like last year's summer hit, you know? No, it's got something. So these are cool things to learn, and they show you about like, what is my life all about? But not in this thing, my life is all about being a writer. No, your life is about so much more, but you may be a talented writer, and that's going to be a good vehicle for you to get inside what your life is truly all about. These crafts that we're good at, you can fly a helicopter, you can play a instrument in a way that causes people to cry, you know, or laugh in joy. These are things that are vehicles that take us into what our purpose is. Those aren't the purpose, I don't think. My experience tells me those are vehicles, and those will fade away. Because you have some, like, say you're like a great athlete. Okay, now you're 45. You know? Only the best of the best of the best of the best can hit 45 and still even be in a professional sports league. So, but that absolutely will send them into the center of who they are as people. Right? That's what a craft does. Art. Like thou art. In the phrasing like thou art God, if God is the infinite energy, and thou is you, and it's the art that kind of can take you inside of that. Living our lives in such a way. It doesn't matter if we think of ourselves like an artist, like a musician or something, but are we a parent? You know, are we a wife or a husband, or are we an entrepreneur? What are we? That's the Sun. Like, what am I all about? And that can take us, but that in and of itself is also going to fade, because one day you're going to die. The body's going to be shed away. So if I'm attached to these temporary identities, although they're beautiful and they're like majestic and they're mysterious, to be talented, to be creative at something, but that will one day go away. But what is it, the you that is animating all that will not go away? So what is it that keeps on going? What is our continuum? To me, that's what this stuff helps you. The yoga practice predominantly. But then if you can put what things like yogic astrology is, then you can put a lens onto that. And you can like look at it in from a more depersonalized perspective. Because otherwise, we're caught in all the waves of the circumstances of our life. This allows you to look at it and say, and you can see the creative direction and you can see the more destructive direction. And if you can see it, then you can make a choice. You can make a choice to be creative. You can make a choice to move into the way that's going to build your purpose, not cause it to kind of have more and more despair. And so that's broad enough that you can apply it to whatever. It's not, here's how to do it. How you do it is going to be your journey. Like that. Okay, let's do some yoga practice. I know I promised to say like, okay, what house of the zodiac is this eclipse affecting your life? And yeah, we can talk about that. But it's also like on our Instagram. Take an inhale through the nose. And exhale. Inhale deep. And exhale. Good. This prayer pose is just take the left and right poles, the negative and positive, feminine, masculine poles. You take them to the two palms together, the knuckles of your thumbs into your sternum. Chest lifted, shoulder blades released. Inhale, please, nice and deeply. Suspend the breath. Lift up through a little bit through your pelvic floor if you can, and soften the torso, upper body, mostly the center of your chest, soften, and then through your nose, exhale. And then inhale. And then exhale. Gurudev Namo. Namo. Gurudev Namo. Namo. Gurudev Namo. Namo. Gurudev Namo. Exhale. Bravo. Come on, the hands and knees. Let's start. Welcome, everybody who we're just meeting for the first time. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to start cat-cow. Inhaling, the head is up. Exhaling, the head is down. Just like Charlotte is showing, and you can see others, but you just go at your own pace, really, with this stuff. At first, it might be a little bit of, stretching the muscles along the spine, but then what we're really doing in this case is lightening it up. Not worried about, not so much trying to make your maximum extension, but instead making a nice supple rhythm for yourself. It's making the spine more supple and using the breath, inhaling as the head is coming up, and then exhaling as the head is coming down. little deeper the breathing, another 60 seconds to go. Mostly, my friends, put your awareness and your attention just onto your breathing. Don't worry too much about whether you're doing it well. Just do it how you can do it. And try to use these exercises to make your body feel nice and to bring energy into the mind, into the body, and into the heart, into your feeling of yourself, into your feeling of life. It's important that we stay uplifted and stay connected to our good energy. If you're brand new to Kundalini Yoga, most of all this stuff you can just kind of jump in. Maybe you won't understand every little thing first time, but it really doesn't matter. What I would encourage for today is to just do your best to enjoy and trust that it'll actually work just as it needs to for you today. And anything you don't understand, we have a whole Life Force Academy, that everything you could ever want to know about this stuff. Inhale, head is up. And then exhale, head is down. Good. And here comes standing up, please. Just a couple standing exercises. All you at home, come standing up. And it's today is a Purnima, full moon, and it's an eclipse day. So mostly we want to just connect into our energy, lift our vitality, feel good. Okay? And it's like this, like sat, na, sat. So it's an inhale up, exhale down. Eyes are open and you pick a single point to gaze at. What we're interested now, good rhythm. Through the nose, breathe. Stretching open the armpits where all those lymph nodes are. And putting a nice rhythmic breath into the body. And that'll stimulate your lymphatic. And all your lymphatic system is like 80% of immune vitality. Help your body out, Keep it moving. Let it get its blood circulating. Don't become too stagnant. It's Ashwini, Aries Naksha, it's asking us, or maybe I'm asking us, but I'm making the case. It's asking us to, move, but move in a mindful way. The Shakti to move places quickly. So let's move quickly from feeling depressed to feeling a little bit of love. Almost done. And maybe moving a little quickly into seeing, where our body's vitality is for the upcoming season of our life. Inhale, stretch up. Fantastic. Relax. Everybody just do the best you can. You need to modify, you need to lay down. Please do your thing. Otherwise, let's go. So your legs are out like Charlotte's, and her fingers are firm, and her legs are strong. Now, Char, don't go all the way down. Exhale down like halfway. And then she uses her core to lift her up. Before anyone starts, my main thing is, I want this to be all about your core, not about your flexibility. This isn't really for stretching, although it does that, it benefits that. But every inhalation, she's drawing her pelvic floor and her navel point, her abdomen below her belly button. She's lifting it in, and the exhale down. And she's also using the strength of that leg as she's coming up. She strengthens that leg to help lift the torso, and she's not collapsing her heart because she's trying to touch her toe, because that's not. So in other words, the next 90 seconds or so is about building core vitality with this exercise using deep breath. So it's inhaling up, exhaling down. Yes. We want to get more energy into our life. Start in the lower triangle. That's Muladhara Chakra, Swadhisthana Chakra, Manipura Chakra. That's Saturn, that's Jupiter, and that's Mars. And so the planets you see are also the chakras. And that's how you work with Kundalini Yoga to actively transform the horoscope in such a way. Improving the horoscope by improving your own inner energy. So then that means improving our experience of our life. That's different than trying to change the outer circumstances of our life. Deeper the inhale for the last few moments. Inhale up and relax. Come sitting. Okay, so you want to be like on a little cushion or a blanket. There's something just to prop you up a touch on the edge of it. Hands on the ankles or shins. Okay? Then it's a simple, light little thing where it's like... Notice that I don't have to do this like big, flexible thing. I can do it really gentle and light. But it's an inhale, lift the forward a touch, exhaling back. Through the nose. At the ankles. It's like it's a lifting of the sternum a little. Start nice and light, and then it'll start to open up and it'll get deeper. Then hit the rhythm. Close your eyes. It's not jerky, it's smooth. Yeah, give it suppleness, not jerkiness. Deeper the breath, please. Now keep going, hands to the knees. Try to feel the lifting of the sternum a touch. Eyes closed down. See if you can then kind of gaze at third eye space. That's relaxing the inner gaze. It's kind of where the root of your nose meets the skull bone between the two eyebrows. Stay with it. With the rhythm. It's a meditation. Hands back to the ankles. Inhale. Suspend the breath in. Be very still and relaxed. Eyes closed. Exhale. Simple. Hands to your shoulders. Heart lifted. Shoulder blades release. Regal position. Yeah? Sit bones are connected down. Chest lifts up. It's lifted, it's erect, and then it's soft. Yeah? And then you just inhale, swing to the left. Exhale, swing to the right. Nice deep breath. To the center, inhale deep. Suspension. Lift now. Mulaban, root lock, rectum, sex organ, navel, up and in. And then exhale. Yeah? Beautiful. Take your hands to your knees. Keep your heart lifted high. And this is simple. Try it very light to start out. Just give it a try. Just light bounce like this. Don't try too hard. Don't try to get all your kinks out right away. Just try to soften with it a little. It's an inhaling up, exhale, release. And then it'll start to open. You can also just inhale up, exhale, stretch your legs wide open. It's preliminary exercises here. For the primary practice, the Kriya we're going to do today. Inhale, you're going to be right on your sit bones. Inhale, center, turn to either side, fold down, exhale. Inhaling, lift. Other side, fold down, exhale. Don't worry about touching your toes. Lead with your heart. Don't collapse your chest. Every inhale, fill the lungs. Opening the life nerve, sciatic. Inhale, center. And hinge forward a little bit. Relax, shake your legs out. Come back cross-legged, easy pose. Index fingers to your thumbs, palms facing forward, hands about ear level. Heart lifted and soften, shoulder blades release. A regal position, O-shaped of the mouth. And the breath will be a simple light The exhalation and the inhalation are equalized. Like, got it? Close your eyes. Keep going. And now see if you can just be fully devoted to the breath rhythm for just a couple of minutes. Listen and feel the breath. Good. Hit it. Inhale. And keep the breath in. If you can, lift your root log, rectum, sex organ, navel. Now squeeze the muscles along the spine. Hold the posture. Make your mind relaxed, spacious. Through your nose, exhale. Now please, my friends, raise your hands up with your palms stretch open wide. Inhale, deepest. Stretch up, please. Stretch up. Inhale some more. Release your shoulders. Fingers tight like steel touch the ceiling. Lift up the pelvic floor. Release the shoulders. Hold the posture through your nose. Exhale. Inhale, please, very deep. Release the shoulders. Touch the ceiling. Lift rectum, sex organ, then navel. Up and in. And release. Exhale, relax. Have some water. Okay, just a couple more little challenging ones that I think it'll be so good for us. You just come on. Well, first, actually, let's try this. You had some water? What you're gonna do is similar. Similar breath to what we just did. Here we go. And this time it'll be through your nose. So you can start with almost like a panting, like a happy, I like to say happy panting dog, like you just threw the ball. Anyway, he's so excited, came back, and now he's getting tired and like, try, it's fun, come on. It's a good thing to do on Eclipse. Be like happy. Not take ourselves too seriously. But it needs to be light, because I'm gonna keep going. Now close the mouth. Do it through the nose. Listen. Close the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Don't try too hard. Be light. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Meditative. Doesn't need like aggressive power. Make it subtle. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Come onto your back. Legs will be together, arms by the side. If this strains your lower back, your hands will be under your butt in fists, okay? You show them that, Shar. Under the butt in fists. Like that. Otherwise, arms by the sides. Yeah, like that. First, come to the, like, kind of knees to the chest position. Then inhale. And then exhale completely. And then bring the legs out to 6 to 12 inches and the head up to 6 to 12 inches. Inhale deep. Move your navel point. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Round one. Take another deep inhale. Stay engaged, but stay relaxed. Stay engaged with the process. Stay relaxed with your mind. Inhale. Fully exhale. Again, inhale. Fully exhale. Inhale into the position. And it's very difficult at first, but you'll feel so strong because of it. It's called building the navel vitality, building the life force pranic vitality. Inhale. Relax. One more time. Take a deep inhalation. Fully exhale. Don't worry, we're going to really relax in a few moments. Right now, number 3, stretch pose. Take your deepest inhalation. Come kind of regally into the position with some confidence. Then listen to the breath. Meet the intensity of life, but meet it with your courage. Inhale. Now draw your pelvic floor up and in, rectum, sex organ, then your navel in deep so it shakes a little deeper. Relax. And please, my friends, relax all the way. Relax, 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 relax. Just a minute or so just for just a minute in this beautiful, nice, meditative inner space, outer space, and the longitude and latitude where everything meets is where you are. This nucleus is everywhere. Let your jaw relax a little, let your face muscles relax a little, and your tongue relax a little. Your chest and your heart relax a little. Even like your digestive organs relax a little. You know, self-compassion. And then you're gonna inhale deeply and then exhale completely. You know? Put some of the stress down into the earth below you. And then when we come up, let it stay down there, ground it into the earth. Thank you. Everything is teaching us something. Thank you. And yet, okay, enough of all that. Hug the knees to the chest. And you're going to bring the nose up towards the knees. But then you're going to relax your shoulder blades down. So I want you to feel that first. You're squeezing up, but shoulder blades release down. Yeah? So then bring your head back down to the ground. So when you get it back up into it, that's what I want you to do. You're squeezing up, but keep your shoulder blades released down. And then you're going to hit the rhythm, okay? So you're going to inhale deeply. Exhale. And then hug the nose up towards the knees. Release the shoulder blades, inhale. Rhythmic, breath of fire, you know? Balance and heal the digestive Agni, the digestive power, by putting the breath and the navel in a rhythm. Yes, it's powerful, but it's soft and it's meditative. It has a nice flow. It has a feel. The power comes from the deep feel, not from aggressiveness. Use the Mars when he mixes with Venus. Now you get the power of penetration mixed with the softness of creativity. Inhale, squeeze up, and release. Good job, everybody. It's a little bit of hard work, but no big deal. Okay, all the hard part is almost over. I think we've already summited most of all of it. Clouds are clearing, things are looking bright. Hug the knees to the chest, rock and roll on the spine. Starting to have a little fun, I can feel it. Come on up. All right, like this. Yeah. 60 degrees, your thumbs are out like so. Fingers are tucked in. Pads of my fingertips connect to the pads of my palms. Make the connections. Like that, 60 degrees. Shoulder blades drop. Sit bones connected. Shoulder blades drop. Yeah, extend out like this. Inhale. And again. If you know the mantra, vibrate the mantra. Satam, satam, sat. Otherwise, your breath is the mantra. Satam, satam. And you're just listening and reflect and meditating and feeling the sound and the feel of the breath, the experience of the breath rhythm. But you're keeping your arms to the best of your ability, 60 degrees. And that puts a pressure on the situation. Gravity is letting itself be known within 90 seconds of the exercise.
But unfortunately, or fortunately, the exercise is not 90 seconds long. It's 3 minutes today. And so in that, we'll put you in a bit of a threshold, but if you can just stick with the breath rhythm, and unless there's some pre-existing injury, try to go through it. Let it open you. Let it build you. Let it cause the life force chi that gets stagnant to open up into your heart center. That's why you put gaze into the third eye point as you continue. Hit the rhythm. Put your whole life in the rhythm, you know? Put the heart into it. You know, meeting the difficulty of life with an inspiration of courage. With the desire to be happy. To be in a total feeling of love. You having a good time? Or is it horrible? Eyes are closed. Now try to relax the inner gaze between the two eyebrows. Don't try too hard, but see if you can just relax the mind into that area. Keep the position. Elongate the arms. It's the aura charge to strengthen the magnetic field and circulate the prana up into the heart and into the higher centers from your lower triangle up into the upper triangle, pituitary, pineal, thyroid gland, crown chakra, ajna chakra, vishuddha chakra. And now you have the power of the lower triangle. Root chakra, sexual chakra, Mars chakra. And you have the intelligence and the subtlety and the expansiveness of the upper triangle, pineal, pituitary. And those two powers balance right in the center of your chest. That's where the science transforms into an art, where you go into a heart field. And it becomes about love. 15 seconds. Inhale. Bring the thumb tips touching. Open the fingers wide. Stretch up. Hold the position through your nose. Exhale. Inhale. Stretch up. Stretch up. And very beautiful. Relax. Yes. Relax. And then just be very still. And just be meditation space.
Inhale deeply. Exhale. And raise your arms, please, like this. Inhale. And just shake them a little, please. And just kind of, all that energy, just kind of distributing it through your whole body. Staying, in the body is the idea with Kundalini Yoga. It's not about becoming like some space cadet and you can no longer relate to all the people in your life. Relax. Enough shaking. That's good. We're starting to look. Everybody's going to think we're weird. You think that's happened already? Oh my gosh. But I do think that's very important. Like, it isn't about like, transcending your life, it's about getting into your life, actually. But finding all of the Dharma in your life is how I like to work with this stuff. And then, here comes an eclipse. And eclipses, like, everybody's kind of like never looking forward. Well, most people aren't looking forward to them. But I always feel like that's the advantage to like living like a yogi. And I don't mean living like a yogi in the sense as I go to a yoga studio or I do even a yoga practice in the way that most of us think about yoga practice. Living as a yogi is utilizing all the circumstances of your life for the blossoming of who you are and what you are and happiness. It's about transforming the emotional and mental patterns that are causing me suffering into ones that can cause me and others happiness. That's living like a yogi. And then things like Kundalini Yoga are fantastic to catalyze that process. It's very difficult to do all that without some practice that is actually kind of containing it and direct and opening it and keeping the mind focused on that. Because otherwise all the energies of the world will competing for our attention. They will pull the prana if I don't have my own centeredness of energy. And the only way I know how to have centeredness of energy is to have a practice. But that's just me. I'm not able to do it very well without some consistency of of meditation practice. And I find that's true for most people, But there's all sorts of things, that we can do, I go martial arts every week. That's totally Dharma practice for me. All of it's Dharma. Music is Dharma practice for me. But it's only Dharma practice if I'm actively involved in utilizing all the circumstances of my life for that process. And every field of study, every, craft that we might have in life is totally fair game to be a vehicle for the Dharma. Totally. Because everything it can be. Everything is. And so do I have the eyes to see it, though? So that's what my practice is all about, maintaining the eyes to see it. And maintaining the heart to feel it. And because otherwise, what our mind's tendency is to push away the things that feel unpleasurable and to grasp at the things that feel pleasurable. That's just natural for all of us. A baby won't take a bitter thing on your pinky, but they'll take the honey, or the sweet. And so it's not denying our nature like that, but it is acknowledging that happiness, lasting happiness, doesn't come from that. Lasting happiness finds what Ayurveda calls the real sweet, the real rasa, the real juice of life. The real juice of life can't be found from any external thing. It comes from an inner process of opening up. Then you find the rasa everywhere also outside of you. So that's the difference. But that's difficult because it requires some level of discipline. It requires some level of putting boundaries on other parts of my life so that there's time to nurture this part of life. Because if there's not a boundary there, especially in this day and age, it will just flood, everything else will flood over us and there'll be no space. So take a study a week by week of yogic astrology if you're feeling the call, and then all of a sudden you've blocked out time to nurture this part of your life. There's nothing more valuable than that to me, to find ways to block time out when you feel the call of inspiration. Because not always do we feel the call of inspiration, but even if you get a little wave of that, I'm always like, get on that wave. Because inspiration waves aren't always present. And so that's a blessing, it's good fortune to have a wave of inspiration. But If I'm keeping myself open, keeping the channels of the prana open, making sure they're well circulated, I won't have a hard time feeling waves of inspiration, because I can find them in every part of life. It's about how are we able to get inside it and interact with it. And then it opens up. You don't have to look for a purpose. You won't be able to avoid it. You know, it's everything and everywhere. It's like, whoa, that's heavy. And that means it's like, I can't like deny that part. And I can't call that lesser than, you know, it can't be like this one people more than I like this other people, you know. The physics no longer makes sense. You know, it no longer fits inside of what feels real. And so that process of opening up to an inner reality is one that requires like love and tenderness and softness and little baby steps, because it's already majestic like it is, and it's potent, and it's like, whoa, you know, think of like forces of nature, hurricanes, potent, earthquakes, potent, war, potent. Life has a potency to it. And so to be able to exist within that potency and to realize we're a part of it, life is mysterious, but we know it. You know, we know it so well. So it's getting into the space of the heart, whereas I understand through compassion, or you misunderstand the times. It's not saying change this belief, change that belief. Say, whatever you believe, understand through compassion, or you misunderstand the time. Yeah? So this little meditation we're doing for this eclipse moment is in the spirit of that. It's a kriya to arouse the deeper heart of love, to arouse what the Buddhists call the bodhicitta, the great wisdom heart. It's not just, you know, ordinary, what we talk about, ordinary compassion. They call it the bodhicitta, which is the wish for your own enlightenment, and the wish for the happiness of others. It's two wings of the same bird. It's both wisdom and it's love. And then out of love comes wisdom. It's simple. And so we start with just the heart of love, let everything else fall into place from there. There's so many things we don't know, so many things we can't make sense of, but we can bring ourselves into the center of us and we can experience our bliss. So your index fingers are crossed like so, and your thumbs point straight away. Okay? The backs of your middle, ring, and pinky fingers are pressed against each other, pointing up towards the sky. So the index fingers are crossed, the thumbs are pointed out. Jupiter fingers, thumbs are pointed out. The backs of your middle, ring, and pinky fingers press against each other and point up towards the ceiling. Makes sense? Let your arms relax down, hold it at the height of your heart center. Like that. Yeah? And you're going to close your eyes down. And you just make your breath nice and slow. And just feel yourself in the position, in the posture. And we're going to begin a segmented breathing, where you're going to take a 4-stroke inhalation through the nose. You're going to hold it for a count of 4. And then you're going to do a 4-stroke exhalation through the nose and hold it out for a count of 4, like suspend it in 2, 3, 4 through the nose. Push it out. Keep it out. 2, 3, 4, then bring it in. And 4 strokes. And then suspend it. 2, 3, 4, then suspend it out. 2, 3, then suspend. 2, 3, then. And just for the next few minutes, continue in this way. Inhaling. 3, 4, suspend. 2, 3, then. Suspend it out. 2, 3, and suspend. And all you really need to do is not worry about anything, but see if you can stay in the position without fidgeting or budging, and suspend and stay with the count. Na, ma, sa. Suspend. Ta, na, ma. Then push it out. So keep it out. Ta, na, ma. Then suspend. 2, 3. And you keep going. And the mind will likely start to jump. You just keep going back to this count. You do that, and you can't mess this up. It's just going to be perfect. And for just a few minutes, enjoy it. Eyes closed. Ta, na, ma. Suspend. Ta. Suspend out. final minute. See if you can be fully with it. Inhale deep. Now hold the posture totally still. Let the mind be relaxed, spacious. Keep the breath suspended in. Let the mind be suspended. Hold the position and relax the breath in. Let the breath flow meditatively, naturally. And for the last moment, bring into your mind and your heart someone you love. Like someone you love, like without, no words can describe, like it's your child, it's your mother, it's your beloved, it's your, you know, your animal family. In that space, we can give a wish for their happiness. We can feel how we want them to feel love, and how just the same way we want to feel love, and we can give a wish for our happiness. You know, put it from your heart into the heart of life. It's genuine. Then we can feel even how every other living person and being that is capable of having feelings feels the same way. And we can very genuinely give a wish for the happiness, for everyone to feel love. And then we can relax. Yeah. And you can give your prayer, or your wish, your good thoughts, you know. It does matter, you know, how we feel. It does, as soon as we start to think, you know, that our thoughts and our feelings don't make a difference, you know, then they really don't, you know. We kind of lost it. It does matter in a very basic way that I know that my feelings for you count, that my concern for others counts. And then we feel despair and we feel hopelessness, because how can it count in any significant way compared to the suffering that we're experiencing and witnessing? But it does. It counts. Because if we all don't think it counts, then we all don't think it counts, and then nobody transforms themselves to where they're ready to serve, and they're ready to do something. But on the other hand, if little by little we know we count, we know our relationship counts, that's very meaningful, I think. It's not very complicated, but it's easy to lose sight of that, So happy eclipse time. And lots of love, and because it's like uploading and downloading. What we put into the world definitely has a wave, And if you can concentrate your chi in your center, build up your life force, and then do it, that's magnetic. It's strong, it's effective. It's like you can change your life that way, and you can help others' lives improve that way. That's very nice, And so then, if you can look at the natal chart and you see, like for instance, where is this eclipse happening? If you knew your and you can easily find it out, but if you know your Vedic ascendant, what they call the lagna, or where your moon is, either one and both, and you know, like for instance, today this lunar eclipse happened in Aries. So if that person is an Aries ascendant or moon, then this is going to be affecting, and it has because by the way, this is a monumental one because this is the final eclipse of the axis in which the eclipses have been happening for the last year and a half. So for the last year and a half, all the eclipses for people with Aries ascendant has been happening right in their kind of sense of identity of who they are, sense of self, the first house of self. But if you're a Taurus, sun or moon, then it's been happening in your 12th house of spirituality, but also loss. So it's like if you're Taurus sun or moon, then, and you're maybe like thinking about making some big expenses today, don't do it. If you can help it, if you don't have to. So that's what you think. It's like, 12th house energy will increase your expenses. So that's coming. Save up a little bit. When you know 12th house energy, you're getting strong 12th house transits for the next year and a half, gives you the wisdom, let me be more conservative because those expenses are going. So what they do is like what they call an upaya for that, a remedy, is you give money away. You give money away actively to people who need it. You help. You get out and you serve 12th house energy, prisons, ashrams. So you can go help at the ashram or help at the prison if you had a really strong one and you're really suffering. Then that's a way of channeling that energy. See how functional that is? Where are you going to put that energy? When you're really suffering and you're feeling helpless. Those guys in the prison could use some help, or those folks at the ashram definitely need help. None of them know how to make money at ashrams. They all need help. You need to bring the food over, help them cook, and it's amazing, and it's like a blessing, Everybody's just helping over there, and everybody's serving something bigger, but you're not serving your own kind of predicament directly. You're helping your predicament by helping others' predicament. It's cool. So then if you have a Gemini sun or moon, then this eclipse is happening in your 11th house of gains, and this eclipse could bring you some, and maybe bring you some profits, possibly. It just depends. You got to look at it all. But then if you're a Cancer, then it's happening in your 10th house of career and work, and it has been for the last year and a half. Has it? And so then, if you're a Leo, it's hard to do this on the recording, on the video. If you're a Leo, then it's in your 9th house. This eclipse is Leo ascendant or moon, 9th house of advisors. Like they say, don't take advice. You might get bad advice on an eclipse in your 9th house, that type of thing. Also the father, and then it keeps going like that. Virgo is happening. Virgo ascendant or moon, this is a more difficult eclipse. Definitely, it's happening in your 8th, and has been for the last year and a half. The eclipse nodes have been influencing upheaval and change in your life, usually through difficult circumstances, but also sometimes inheritance. Nice. 8th house, but still inheritance. That usually doesn't come from pleasurable experiences, And then you go into where am I? Libra's in the 7th house of relationships and marriage. Scorpio is in the 6th house of health and adversaries. You might have people coming at you with like competitive energies, or awkward energies or adversarial energies. And then Sagittarius, thank you, in the 5th house of children, good luck, etc. That's how it goes. And it goes Capricorn in the home of the house of your home and your mother and your sense of happiness. And then Aquarius in your 3rd house of your friend circles, communications. You see how it hits all the domains of life? And then finally Pisces would be in the 2nd house of money and close family. So then eclipse nodes are in those domains of life. It takes about 1.5 years for them to go through a whole sign. And so every 1.5 years, that axis changes. And it's changing at this moment. And in fact, that's why this whole eclipse couple of weeks has been, exceptionally wonky, because not only is it a solar eclipse, but Rahu, which was the shadow that just came over the moon over the last hour and still is finishing up, is in the point of the sky that's right between a fire sign and a water sign. It's called Gandanta. And it's said to where lots of all of our collective karmas are held. And so boom, Rahu went in the Gandanta, the Middle East thing broke out. And it'll be in Gandanta for another week or so. So this, you can already feel, I think, well, over in these parts, I think you can feel it's been lightening up some compared to what it was, but it's still, nothing's light about it. But maybe in terms of, all right, we're starting to get our feet on the ground and figure out how to navigate this. How can I, where is my footing? Give it another week, if you can, before having to tackle the big decisions of life. Things that might affect you for a long time, try to wait another week. If it's a little decisions like, am I going to join the yogic astrology course or not? I would recommend go for it. Don't you think? Yeah. Anything that has to do with spiritual, work is always kind of nice. They say when you're chanting during eclipse, it's magnified by, they say some ridiculous number of times, 1 million times or something. They always use really big numbers. Jupiter on the ascendant gets rid of, 10 million blemishes in the horoscope, which then makes us realize, oh no, I didn't know I had 10 million blemishes in the horoscope. Okay, so anyways, last things I want to just let everybody know, if you don't already know, our yogic astrology course is starting in November 15th. It's going to be every Wednesday evening, and it's an 8-week journey of really learning this stuff, not to become an astrologer, to learn it for you to kind of work with this stuff in the way I've been kind of talking about it today. But really learning it step by step, because there's kind of 3 main areas that we work with. The 3 main building blocks, very simple, as with all really astrological systems. You have what's called the grahas, which are the planets, and sun and moon, and the Rahu Ketu. The 9 planets, you have the rashis, which are the constellation. Planets are forces of energy. Constellations, that's what we're talking about, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, etc. Fields of energy, fields of light. So you have forces, and you see the path the moon takes, the path the sun takes. It's following the ecliptic. That's following the zodiac. The constellations of the zodiac are the constellations that the planets naturally move through in the sky. So last night you saw the full moon there, and tonight, those of you where it's already nighttime, you see the full moon there. It's in the constellation of Aries. And right next to it is Jupiter, who's been in the constellation of Aries for the last year almost or so. And so when you know your horoscope, you know what that means for you, because Jupiter is where your prosperity is coming from in some way or another. Wherever Jupiter is going to provide prosperity and support in that domain of your life during that time. So if you know I'm a Capricorn ascendant, then you know Aries is your 4th house of home and mother. And so then it kind of points your attention to all the important responsibilities And there's important, meaningful things of our life, our father, our mother, our siblings, our work in the world, our personal inner life, our relationships, our romance, our marriage, our dating, our this. All of it is there. And so it gives you some perspective on it if you're not obsessive. When you're obsessive, you lose perspective because you're like, I want it to be this and I want it to be that. And we're like that because we're talking about like love and money and all these things. But that's why we call it yogic astrology, because yeah, you see all that, but what we're really trying to do is to, as like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the yogi doesn't discern between auspicious and inauspicious. So we're looking at it as, actually, this horoscope's perfect. It is perfect. We don't want to think that sometimes, but we always want to bring ourselves back to the place where we realize it's exactly as it should be and is. And so you can't change it anyways. And so, but what you can do is improve it. And how do you improve it? You improve whether you're getting more of the creative expressions as opposed to the destructive expressions. You see where your weaknesses are, and it allows you to strengthen them. You see where your strengths are, and it allows you to refine them. So, wow, he's a good talker. Maybe he talks too much. You know what I mean? This class has already gone way over 2 hours, or so hour and a half like it was supposed to. But I wanted to tell you about this, and it's part of the reason we do this today is to encourage and invite you to be a part of this course, because you do planets, constellations, and then the bhavas, the houses. The houses are, so for right now, for instance, whatever constellation on the eastern horizon, if a baby's born at this moment, which one is being born at this moment, then their rising sign will be whatever constellation is on the point of the sunrise. But directly below them on the other side of the zodiac will be the 4th house. Directly above them will be their 10th house of their work in the world. Directly on the western horizon will be their 7th house. And where all the planets are in this moment will show a definite architecture to that person's psyche and their tendencies and mythology, the heroic journey of their life. That's what this is about. It's like looking at your life so you can see the mythology, you can see the heroic journey that it is, and you can get inside it and kind of like work with it. Like you were saying, you can, and simultaneously you're working with the yogic practices that correspond with the chart all through you're going through the 8 weeks. And like Leif was telling me last night, you can experience your body like an iPad, where you can move it in this way and it'll open up in this way. You can tell it something and it will do it, your mind and body. Because now all of a sudden, not every of the prana is being dragged by all of the emotional circumstances of life, but you've been building it, you've been centering it, and now you can work with it. And that's what I mean by you can choose it. You can choose the happiness. You can choose to shape your reality in such a way, but it takes some consistency to be realistic about that. Because otherwise it's just kind of like we're like, fooling ourselves. And so anyhow, that's the yogic astrology course. Those are the first 3 parts, planets, constellations, houses, and then you put all 3 of those together, and that's a whole, 8 weeks of that is just like a start, of course. This is like a lifelong thing, but that's why this is something you can go through many, many, many times. Because how are you going to, it's simple on one hand, but it's profoundly sophisticated on the other hand. So it's simple enough that even knowing, okay, I have my moon in Aquarius with Saturn also with it, that will tell you a whole lot about your life and about life in general with that one thing, the more you spend time with it. Then you put all the different things together, give it a year, it's going to really start to make some sense. Or even give it 8 weeks. But it's powerful though, and that's just like you take it nice and slow, because sometimes it'll reflect things back to you that you already know about your life and that's happened in your life. Sometimes difficult things, sometimes wonderful things. It's like, whoa. It's like, how is that there? And it's like, wow, and it kind of gives you like So that's why even with studying astrology, first thing, arouse the heart of compassion. Practicing Ayurveda, practicing yoga, first thing always, arouse the heart of compassion. And then when you end it, arouse the heart of compassion. And you always sandwich your sadhanas, sandwich your studies, sandwich the practices, arousing the heart of compassion. Yeah? And everything is a good sandwich. Last part is the regular price for this thing is $695 for all of it. By the way, you do not have to do it live. It's you can use the recordings. If you get the course, you have lifetime access. It can be downloaded. You can do it on your own time, but we recommend, if you can, to try to do it live. There's two main parts to the module. The first happened on Wednesday evenings. That's the main teachings of the module. And then on Fridays is like an astrology satsang where we'll kind of review them, and then we look at all your charts. And we pull up different people's charts. We look at them throughout the course. We study the charts of all sorts of amazing people. We look at Bob Dylan's chart, Bob Marley's chart, Anandamoyi Ma, and then we bring up like parts of their life and show videos of it, and you really get to see the mythology of these people's lives, and it's very cool. Maya Angelou, these types of people who we have their charts, we have confidence in their charts, and we know their lives, and we have old documentaries to look at and that type of thing. And so you don't want to always just be looking at your chart, because you'll get lost in there. You become obsessive about it. So you learn slowly about your chart while you're simultaneously learning about your significant other's chart, your mom and dad's chart if you have their birth time, your siblings, people you know really well. So when you can look at the charts of the people you know really well, it's illuminating because it's teaching you. It's like, oh, that's it in real life, not just theory. So it's very practical like that. And you can read everything on your webpage here. We've spent a lot of time putting this webpage together, so best we can communicates what this is, what it's all about. It's on sale right now. It's only $375. But that's going up soon. So if you're feeling it, there's also a payment plan where you can pay a lot less, but you can start right away. And it's like a monthly thing. It's on your page. There's a special bonus we're doing that I'm going to be with one of my good friends, special guests, secret guests, that we're going to be doing a relationship chemistry class together. But that'll be more once you learn a little bit of the building blocks of this thing, then you can get in there and you can learn how to take two charts and look at them together and see, should I? Or I already did, let me figure this out. And that's the deal. So it's a really good deal. It only takes a moment to join in. Like I said, it's totally flexible. If you can't start with us right away, you have it forever. There's also a guarantee. You get it and you decide for any reason, this isn't for me, just shoot us an email. We always give a full refund if it's in 60-day window. And if you can't do that, be a part of the Life Force Academy membership. That's $1 to try. And if you like this today, you'll love that. And it'll keep you going with this week by week, live classes every week, library of recorded classes, practices, teach you Kundalini yoga. This Monday is going to be exceptional live class with live music. So that is that's on the very, very bottom. If you can't do the course, you can go all the way down to the bottom of the page and you can be a part of that. Let's close this thing out properly, though. Take your hands to the prayer pose. Sorry we went a little long today, but I don't know, the Shakti of getting places quickly was disturbed. Inhale deep. Exhale. Just close your eyes. Give one little last good wish for your life's direction, and loved ones. Inhale. Happy full moon, everyone. Happy eclipse, everyone. Take care. Lots of love. See you very soon.
People go through similar things, same time. Experience tells a story. Experience tells a story if you don't mind. Cause life to flow like rhyme. I listen, I see her.